Hello? Hi, Sam.
Hello.
Why are you full screen? I think I have the ability here now to take control.
You do? Cool.
Well, all right. I just muted you and unmuted you.
Okay, the power's in your hands.
I sent, after we figured this out yesterday, I sent Lisa an email that all it said was, I have the power. Oh. Okay, now we just got to wait for people to come in. So I'm going to mute myself.
All right.
Welcome, guys. This is Michael. It's about 3 minutes before 10, so we'll get started shortly. Just wanted to welcome you all, and Sam will take over in a few minutes. I'll introduce you, Sam, and then we'll get started in, right about 10.
Sounds good.
Hello, everyone. This is Michael Cott. I'm the chair of the Professional Development Committee for Nil Rock. It is now 10 o'clock. Let's hold off for about one more minute, see if we get anybody else. But thank you all for joining us. I will have you all on mute, and then at the end, Sam will have a question and answer period, and I do believe you will be able to unmute yourselves. Okay, so we'll hold on for just another minute or so. All right, I think it's time to get started. Like I said, this is Michael Cott. I'm the chair of the Professional Development Committee, and it gives me great pleasure to introduce you guys to Sam Suber, who is from Moraine Valley for part 2 of the Pivot Table webinar series, Making Connections. All right, Sam, go ahead, it's yours.
Hello, everyone. Again, my name's Sam Zuber. I'm from Moraine Valley Community College Library. I'm the Electronic Resources Coordinator. Today, I'm going to be talking about, at least from our last webinar, how to connect pardon me, Troy. Well, we started with one pivot table, one data set, and now we're going to do connect multiple data sets. That is the object of this webinar. So from one data set to multiple. In this presentation, we're going to be setting up how to set up Power Pivot, how to make queries, how to do Power Pivot and measures, sample scenarios to reinforce concepts, and if we have time, we can go through database relationship theory to fully utilize Power Pivot. What you would need to do this would be Microsoft Excel 2016 Enterprise, and the Power Pivot add-on for Excel is not available for Microsoft 365 business or personal subscription. So if you try this at home, likely that you have a personal subscription and the add-on won't be available. And below is my contact info. If we have questions later or during, we'll see. So so let's get started. Right. Okay, so I'm going to click on the circulation Excel file. And can everyone see this? All right, so to create set up Power Pivot, all you have to do is open up Excel, go to File, go to Options, go to Add-ins, And you see this manage Excel add-ins. You gotta press go. And oop, I pressed the wrong one. Go options, add-ins, com add-ins. Then you press go. And you should see a checkbox for Microsoft Pivot, Power Pivot for Excel. You want to click on that one. Make sure that's checked off. And press OK. And when you do that, you'll get a new tab for Power Pivot. And that's all there is to it. So before we get into like the real depth of Power Pivot, we need to learn about queries. So I'm going to close this Excel file. And I'm going to share. Yeah, so what a query does is actually pull in data from another Excel file or any other data set that you want. So say for instance, I want to pull data from the circulation Excel file. And you can do this easily by either going into the spreadsheet that you want to go pull data from, or you can actually create a new one. So I'm going to create a new one. So I'm going to do new Microsoft Excel worksheet and call it query circulation. Then I'm going to open this. Then I need to do new share. So this is our blank Excel file. And so I want to query my circulation data Excel file. So what you do is go to data, new query, from file, from workbook. Since it's from an Excel file. And I'm going to find where that circulation was. So as I remember, it was on my thumb drive. So I'm going to go to my thumb drive. And there it is, circulation. So I'm going to click on that. So it's going to give me a navigator screen. And this is our Excel file. And it recognizes that we have a table in there called circulation 1. So we're going to load that data. And voila, there's our data. Pretty cool. Any data that comes from the circulation file automatically comes into here. For instance, I want to show you this. So let me share again. So I'm going to click on the circulation regular spreadsheet. So this is our non-queried table. If I wanted to update my data, like with new data, say for instance, January 20, oop, you can't see that yet. There you go. So January 20, I do rename that data 5, 4, I'm just making up data here. So now we have January 2020 data. If we want to update it in our query, we have to press refresh. Oops, nothing happened. Do you know why? Because we didn't save from our original table. So I'm going to go back to my original table. I'm going to press save. Up in this right hand or left hand corner, save. I'm going to go back to my query. I'm going to do data, go to data and press refresh. There you go. You see how the data changed? 125, 3. There's our new data. So that's another cool feature. So say for instance, and as I mentioned before, you can query other spreadsheets, uh, as many as you want. So for kicks, we're going to query uh, the reference spreadsheet as well. So new query from file, from workbook, go to my thumb drive, and I'm going to query my reference as well. So I guess I didn't label my table in reference and could just call it table 1. So we're going to load that. And voila, pretty cool. So just to understand everything, to make it easier, I'm just going to rename these spreadsheets so it's easier to recognize. So circulation and reference. Okay, so say for example, you move data, you want to alter the query. Say for example, you want to move your spreadsheets from your thumb drive to your desktop, and you'll change the query location. To make sure the query still works, you would have to change the source within the query to make it still work. So as an example, I'm going to show you if I move my data, how I would change it in Excel. So let me save this. I'm going to X out of this. Oh, sorry about that. So I'm going to move this data into my desktop. Let me do a new share. So I'm going to move circulation to my desktop. There it is. And I'm going to move reference to my desktop. And for kicks, I'm going to move my query also to the desktop. And I'm going to relabel my query query circulation reference. Okay, so now I'm going to open query circulation reference. And you see this security warning, external data connection have been disabled. We can say enable content. And we can see, even though our query data is still there, if we try to refresh it, it might not work. So just to make sure we have the right source, we go to, you see all this, when we click on the spreadsheet, we see these two new tabs show up. So I'm going to go to the query tab. I'm going to go to edit. So since we changed where the source was, it was actually navigation, my bad. We could do edit settings. Oops, wrong one. So we go to source actually, right? And we're going to change it to query from the desktop. So reference, because that's the reference spreadsheet. Press OK. It takes a while to load. Then we press close and load. Voila. Now we'll do the circulation. So we're going to, since we have this query thing already open, we can go here or the query spreadsheet. So I'm going to click on that, do edit, click on source, left click, edit settings. Since it's located on a thumb drive, I'm going to move it since the new spreadsheet's on the desktop. I'm going to say change the source. So, oop, wrong way. There you go. So click OK. Then close and save, close and load. Yeah, everything works. So that's basically what queries do. You can query data from other spreadsheets into a new spreadsheet that you created or an existing spreadsheet that you already have created. So it's very flexible. So queries are nice, but what about if we can actually combine these queries? And that's where Power Pivot comes into play. So I'm going to X out of this. So I'm not going to save this. I'm going to do a new share. I'm going to go back to my thumb drive. So we see we already have our two spreadsheets queried in our thumb drive. So I'm going to click on that. So we have our two spreadsheets queried. Oh, there you go. So we have our two spreadsheets queried. Now, say for instance, we want to connect our date fields. We want to see if there's any correlation between circulation and reference. So how would we do that? We would use Power Pivot. So where would we start? So if you have the Power Pivot tab already installed, we're going to click on our query. We're going to do add to data model. So we have our table selected and we're going to press add to data model. So you might have to click more than once. So this new screen actually pops up if you click more than once. Okay. So you go back to my query. Then you do reference. You gotta press go to Power Pivot and add to data model. And when you add to data model, this pops up. So you can see our circulation table is right there and our reference table is right there. So what does that mean? So I'm gonna X out of these this data model by clicking X right here and go back to my spreadsheet. So I'm back to my spreadsheet. So now what? So we have two tables in our data model. Next thing we want to do is actually create a pivot table. So since this is a blank, I'm going to rename it summary. So I'm going to do insert pivot table. And you see this thing says use this workbook's data model. So we'll take the tables that we included in our data model, which was the circulation and the reference. And I'm going to click existing worksheet because we have a blank worksheet already here. So I'm going to press OK. Voila. So as you can see, our reference table showed up and our circulation table showed up. So let's have some fun with it, right? So questions about cats. We want a date field. Oh, we don't want all that. So cats and directional. And we'll see if we can add something about circulation. Huh. That shouldn't be right. It seems that this data should actually be different. To connect these values from the dates from here into here, we need to establish some kind of relationship. So with Excel, we can get away with it without going too complicated. So let me get rid of some of this stuff. So it's going to say relationships between tables may be needed. So we're going to do create. So we know there's a date field in circulation in the circulation table, and there's a date. So we click on that, and the related table in table 1, which is a reference, there's also date. So since these fields are the same, we click OK. So, and you see, we have directional, we have questions about cats, and we have questions about cardigans. So, yeah, and the data is different. So we successfully, the values are successfully different. The table relates to the date in both circulation and to reference. So we have the date year. We have this blank field, so I'm going to go back to the date and just remove that. Voila, we have our pivot table, a shared pivot table. So another cool feature is, we want to create a measure. So say, for example, you want to compare books with questions about cats in some kind of formula. In my previous webinar, we talked about fields, items, and sets. This little field right here. But to do a shared formula between two different tables, you have to use Power Pivot's measure feature, which is right here. So let's see, we're going to do new measure. So you have a table name, you have a measure name, and a description. So basically, you can put the measure in either table. So you can put in, since we only have two tables in our data model, you have the option to put either in the reference or the circulation. So we're going to do circulation. And we're going to call it, since we already have two, let's call it cardigans plus cats. I like that one. So the thing about measures is you have to have the fields already queued in your pivot table to use them. So I'm going to do let's see. So we're going to do sum of cats, sum. See how that field, sum of questions about cats already popped up? We're going to do that. Then we're going to do sum of cardigans. So you see our new field? It added all the cardigans and all the cats. Oh, hi Carla. I just saw your message. Yes, querying does import a spreadsheet into a new spreadsheet. So we added cardigans plus cats. So remember, with a measure, you have to queue the fields that you want to use. So by queuing, I mean you have to select them literally. So I'm going to click on books. Now you see some of books show up, right? And you see some of books right here. Then I'm going to add directional. You see directional show up. Sum of directional. Then you have to go to measures, new measures. Since these two are already queued, you could do new measure, put in the circulation table, say books plus directional. So we do sum of books. You see that sum of books that we already queued? We can do that, sum of books plus sum of directional, since we already queued it. So see that new field pop up, books plus directional? It showed up in our circulation table. See our two formulas, cardigans plus cats and books plus directional. We now have a shared measure, which is pretty cool. So, and you can modify them again by just going to measures and do manage measures and edit, and you can do it, change it however you want to. So that's what you do. So just to reinforce concepts, I have some scenarios just to better understand what's going on. This might be a lot. So I'm gonna X out of this and do a new share. So we do scenario 1. And okay, so scenario 1. Sure. So your employee Jimbo claims there's an uptick in interlibrary loans transactions in February. You want to use interlibrary loan data in conjunction with the circulation data, see if the two are related. Create a measure to verify your claims and a shared pivot table to see if there's any correlation in the data. So I'm gonna highlight this and paste it in the chat so you guys can read. Oop. There you go. So where would we start? Okay. So I'm gonna go back to my thumb drive, and so let's create a new spreadsheet to query these two data sets and to create a new measure. So I'm gonna call it, go left click, new, Microsoft Excel, circulation plus let's call it interlibrary loan circulation. So I'm going to click on this. I'm going to do a new share. So I'm going to query that data. So I'm going to go, where is it? So yeah, data, new queries, from file, from workbook. It's on my thumb drive. So I'm going to query circulation. I'm going to click import. Go press load. Gonna rename this circulation. Then I'm gonna press, I'm gonna do a new query. Where? Oh yeah, data tab, new query, from file, from workbook. And then query interlibrary loan. Okay, so we have our two spreadsheets. I'm gonna rename it. It might be better if I just do ILL. Okay, so to create a shared pivot table, we need to add it to our data model. So do power pivot, add to data model. So let me show you. So we get this, which is what we want, and ILL is right here. So that's good. So I'm gonna go back to the spreadsheet. I'm gonna add this to the data model. So, yep, power pivot, add to data model. So both our circulation table and ILO is in the data model. So we're almost at the shared pivot table. So I'm gonna X out of this and go back to my spreadsheet. And call this summary. You do insert new pivot table, existing worksheet, and use the state workbook's data model. So our pivot table is all the way down here, but it will change. So, but all of our tables are right where they should be. So let's queue some data. Ebooks. I don't like this. I'm gonna start over. I can do insert summary, and there you go. So insert pivot table. Yes, use existing workbooks data model and existing spreadsheet, existing worksheet. So we have our table. We have in-state returnables and total. So we have a shared pivot table. The question was, there's uptick in interlibrary loan transactions in February. But in the circulation spreadsheet, we don't have a total of all, all fields. So quickly, we're going to do fields, items, and sets, since it's one table. So where are you? So do you go to analyze fields, items, and sets? Oh yeah, but whatever, it's fine. Okay, so we're gonna go back to our original spreadsheet in circulation. And we're gonna do so this is what we queried from, and we're gonna do fields, items, and sets to add all these fields together. So we're gonna do total circulation. So we're gonna do data. You do equal sum C2 to G 2. Yeah, drag all this down. Click save. So when we go back to our queried spreadsheet, we can update. Where is it? There you go, refresh all in the data field. See, now the total circulation queried. So we have total circulation. We're almost done answering the question. Okay. Okay, so now we have to go back to our pivot table. We have to refresh our pivot table as well. See if it actually, our new field showed up. So we do refresh all. And our new total circulation showed up. So that's what we need. So sum of total circulation. And we want our date field. And we don't need all this mess. probably want the month. Let's say we want the month and the year. Yep. So let's see. Let's see if it was right. If there was an uptick in February. So that was circulation. Let's check interlibrary loan. So like total outgoing, I imagine what he was talking about. And you know, this our numbers aren't right. This isn't right. So we have to create a relationship. So create ILL. We will connect the date fields. Voila. There you go. So yeah, I would say there's an uptick in interlibrary loans, 30,000. That seems like a lot. So the other thing we want to do is create a measure. So we do power pivot, measures, new measure. Uh, Power pivot, new measure. We want to do, I guess a sample correlation would be sum of total circulation divided by sum of outgoing. We'll call it circ per ILL. And it's in the ILL table. So we have a lot of, it's a measure, it works. It's not very pretty. So let's show values as, yeah, let's make it easy. So we go to home and we want to change how many decimals there are. Oh, well, let's do that. Okay. Um, let's see. Let's do show values as. And number format, that's what I'm looking for. So number to small places. There you go. That's what we want. So there you go. We answered that question. um, so I know we don't have a lot of time left, so we can do the second one real quick. So don't save. Yep. So scenario 2. Former employee Bob left the library to pursue a career in fast food. You've taken over his duties and need to move his spreadsheets and readjust his measures he created for the library's use. Update the Hoopla transaction for reference transaction spreadsheets and measures and move it on to the desktop. Easy enough. So move all that stuff out of the way. Mind my desktop, it's not very pretty. So we have to move all this to the desktop. So I'm gonna move my reference. So I replace. I can move my Hoopla. And I'm going to move my hoopla per reference. Okay, I guess we're done. Nope, not too fast. So we're going to look at our hoopla per transaction. So I guess Bob did a pretty good job here. He already created a measure for hoopla per reference, and he already queued all his fields. Pretty good. So all we have to do now is just change the query location. So we're going to go to our queries, these, and you see this query tab already highlighted. We're going to click on that. We're going to do edit. We're going to go to source, left click, or right click, and edit settings. And we're going to put we're going to change it to the desktop location since we moved it. So that's hoopla. We're going to press OK. Then we're going to do close and load. Voila. And we're going to do the same thing for reference. Query. We have this already clicked. Do query, edit, source, edit settings, desktop, and reference. And close and load. Voila. And we fixed it. Everything should be good. So I'm going to go back to my title screen. So we did some Power Pivot. We learned a little bit about queries, how to make measures, how to connect tables by the date. I wanted to do more in-depth stuff, but I guess we'll save it for the next time. Um, um, we did two sample scenarios, and yeah, we learned about measures, Power Pivot, how to install it, and hope you can do more with Excel sheets now that you learned some new things. So thank you very much. And I guess we have time for questions if there's any left.
Thanks, Sam. Yeah, we have time for some questions. If anybody has any, go ahead. You should be able to mute yourselves, or you can type them in the chat box. Okay, cool. I'll take that as nobody has any questions, or you can think while I am on the advertising mode. The third and final installment will be on April the 3rd, which is a Friday at 10 a.m. Look at that. He just brought it right up on screen. Way to go, Sam. Mm-hmm. Okay, if there are no questions, thank you guys so much. The link will be posted within the next couple of days once it's processed, and I will send out an email so you have a link to this webinar as well. All right, everybody, thank you so much. Have a good day.